was bad. Uh, I ain't got the title up right now, but basically I was talking about SGA, and then I'm gonna also talk about Jason Tatum too. But like I was saying, man, I appreciate what SGA is doing this season, man. He's been phenomenal. He was phenomenal last season, but there is some concern about the OKC Thunder that a lot of people have. OKC come out of the West. I know that the Lakers are coming on pretty strong. I want people to understand I don't have LeBron in no conversation as far as an MVP candidate. I don't have him as an MVP candidate. If anything, if Luka was able to be eligible for the award, you should give it to Luka because he's actually made more of an impact uh, since the trade or whatever. Because I think they're 10-2, but that's neither here nor there. We're not talking about the Lakers. We're focusing on SGA. Is SGA gonna run out of gas? That's the question. That's the big question that we got to ask ourselves, because SGA is going on all these scoring explosions. He's consistent. He doesn't miss games. He answers the bell every time that you need him. More importantly, man, he shows up on both ends of the floor. He's showing up on both ends of the floor, and also he's showing up at the end of games too. He's a clutch performer. Now you got to wonder if the Thunder are going to be affected by that, because if you don't have SGA and what he does in the clutch and what he does defensively, okay, on both ends, I don't feel that the Thunder will go anywhere. Okay, it's just like with the Bucks, and I'm going to talk about this too. It's a lot of people that's been saying we got to hold Giannis accountable and all this other silly shit. Man, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Matter of fact, I don't think that Giannis is being appreciated enough, for what he's done over the past couple of seasons or whatnot. Despite him, having an injury and everything. But we'll talk about that later. But SGA, man, will he run out of gas? That's the thing. Will SGA run out of gas? That's the question we got to ask ourselves. Um, I really don't listen. If SGA plays at the level that he did last season, anywhere near the level that they played last season, and now that you have Hartenstein and you have um, Chet Holmgren, as well as Williams, I feel that they'll be okay. But if you lose any one of those guys, and I know it's tough for me to say this, but it's going to be tough for OKC. Especially playing a hungry team. But OKC is hungry. It's just that I don't want SGA to be overutilized, because I think if I'm not mistaken, man, he's up there in terms of usage rate. I could be wrong, but I know they utilize him a lot, and I think there was only like what two or three other guys in double figures, if I'm not mistaken, when they played against the Rockets. Now, the Rockets, uh, Thompson didn't play. I know Jalen Green played. Jalen Green, I think he had 18 or something like that. But I'm really, honestly, I'm going to look at how this plays out throughout the month of March and seeing what happens. Because SGA running out of gas and and them not having SGA is very pivotal. Because look, I like doing this stuff, but can he postseason? That's the question. You know, can he do this? You know, barring that there is no injury. And God forbid that there's any injury, but I'm just saying there's a risk that you take if overplaying SGA. And then another thing is that a lot of people feel that with the OKC Thunder, this is what a lot of people feel. They feel like, okay, they're gonna come in, they're gonna these guys are coming in from a winning, like a winning season and everything, and then they're gonna get to the postseason, and then they're just gonna fall short. Now, last year it was a whistle. We all know what happened last season. A lot of people feel like OKC could have, should have been up in there, in the Western Conference Finals and all that, but we can't do anything to change that. Now, all they can do is go ahead and prove that they belong. Now, I'm not going to say that they're lucky that they have a lot of injuries to Dallas and everything, but luck did kind of play in their favor, because now you got to wonder about Kyrie too, because that was a pretty nasty knee sprain. Yesterday, and of course we got to wait on the MRI update on Kyrie. Let's just hope it's not anything severe. But SGA, man, I'm not gonna sit up here and tell SGA personally to slow down or anything like that. I can't tell him, man, to slow down or to slow down his play and slow down what he's been, his output, put of work and everything. But man, the worst thing that you want, man, is your best player to run out of gas. Now, even though I don't see it happening, I can see it taking a toll on, because man, they're gonna slow down. Defenses are going to adjust, and they're going to do everything that they can to figure this out. Now, what if you shut down? What if you shut down SGA? What if you shut him down? Who can make up, for those other points? Listen, it's happened before where they've came in and without SGA, they've been able to have guys that step up, like the Carusos and the Williams and everything like that. But can they do that on a consistent basis? Because the reason why I'm asking this question, man. Hey, what's up, Hashi? How you doing, bro? You said the Thunder have a chance to win 67 games this year. Now that Chet is back, They look better than what they did before he got hurt. Well, yeah, and I'm not like I said, Hashi. I'm not worried about the season, man. We're not worried about the season. We're talking about postseason, man. Like postseason play. Because yeah, they're gonna most likely be the number one seed. They're gonna have home court advantage. But you gotta wonder if SGA, if they're gonna, I ain't gonna say run them to the ground or anything like that, because that's not the type of coach that the OKC coach is. Dog, not I can't pronounce his name, but that's not the type of coach that he is. He doesn't have a similar style to Coach Tibbs. But what I'm saying is if they don't have SGA, okay, or if SGA is a non-factor, or if SGA gets injured or gets hurt, or if he's fatigued, can they still be successful? I haven't seen anyone that shut down SGA yet. Right, but can they make up for SGA? Like you say, nobody has shut down SGA. Now they've contained them. Ant-Man has contained SGA. Ant-Man has contained SGA, especially in late game situation. And although Ant-Man didn't outscore SGA in that last game that they played, it was good. It was good that he made up for it on the defensive end. You say OKC main problem is their lack of size. That hurt them against Dallas. Well, we can't talk about that this season. Um, and that's another thing to keep. You bring up a good point, Hashi. That's another thing that we got to talk about too. Harkison is showing to be very injury prone, because he went out the game against Minnesota or whatnot, and he was out. He's been out quite a bit earlier this season. Him and Chet, but they have the athleticism and the speed and the energy to make up for their size, if that makes any sense. Because we know what happened last season, Hashi. OKC should have won that series, man. Bar none. They should have, hands down, they should have won that series. You know, they should have won that series. But besides all that, besides their size and everything else, if they don't have SGA, it's going to be a problem. Now, look, if I'm wrong, and SGA, if they do the unthinkable, if OKC does the unthinkable, they come out there with a less than 100% SGA. They come out there, they come out balling. I'll come on here and I'll say I was wrong. You said most of the games lost were close. Also, SGA played better against the Mavs than Ant and Tatum did. What you talking about? Are you talking about this season? I'll go ahead and I'll go take a look at that. Now, Tatum, if you're talking about the playoffs or if you're talking about the championship, Tatum actually he didn't do good shooting wise, but he did good playmaking, playmaking wise. The other intangibles, and I think he was the top guy in plus or minus, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not gonna say you just say that he did not shoot well, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he did not play as good as SGA did. SGA is a bucket. We all know that. That's his forte is scoring. You know what I'm saying? He also plays defense too. but you know him as a bucket. That's what you talked about. You said that I haven't seen anybody. You said last year. Nah, Ant-Man. Ant-Man actually. If you're talking about in the playoffs, I can agree to that. I can agree to that. Yeah, he like during the season though. And if we're talking, but we're talking about this year though. It's a brand new year, man. Let's focus on this year because one of the reasons why I don't never doubt Tatum, and I'm gonna talk. I was gonna talk about this anyways before the streaming got cut down. My original title was why Jason Tatum is so underappreciated. The reason why Tatum is so underappreciated and undervalued, man, is because, and a lot of people don't see him as a face, is because Jason Tatum, okay. One of the reasons is the obvious. They feel like Jason Tatum is boring. Okay, I mean, if you want to call winning a championship and getting championship boring, by that logic, then we got to talk about Tim Duncan. By that logic, we got to talk about a Tony Parker. By that logic, we got to talk about the Detroit Pistons back in '04. They weren't an exciting team to watch, but if you understood basketball, it was fun to watch them. I found it. I found them kind of exciting. Matter of fact, I felt like Tayshaun Prince, and Ben Wallace were exciting to watch to me. You said Ant. Yeah, he was horrible, but he'll make up for it this season. He single-handedly cost his team the series. All he had to do was play. Nah, it wasn't him. It wasn't on. Nah, I disagree with you on that, Hashi. You got to go back and you got to go look at that. It wasn't. It wasn't all on Ant. And Ant was actually. You got to think about the defense that Ant was playing. Hey, listen. You got to hold Karl Anthony Towns. You got to hold Karl Anthony Towns accountable. And did you not forget who was on the island by himself with Luka Doncic, the quote unquote defensive player of the year? Did you forget about that? Because last time I checked, it wasn't Ant that was on the island by himself. It was Rudy Gobert. So we got to do that. And then Cat wanted to sit up there and act like he forgot how to play, which he always does. He's a playoff choker. Look, as much as I like Cat, he was a playoff choker, man. He wanted to sit up there and settle for jumpers and stuff like that. Ant-Man could have played better, but we gotta hold the whole team accountable, man. In this instance, especially Rudy Gobert, though. See, I think Tatum is good in the regular season, early rounds, but in the playoff, he isn't consistent. But he is great in the intangibles. Well, I mean, what else do you want him to do? I mean, look, y'all want him to listen. You want him. Everybody's trying to. Okay, they want guys to be like go on these scoring explosions and stuff like that every single series. It just don't happen like that. Kobe Bryant, for instance. Kobe Bryant has had some tough shooting and poor shooting outputs, especially when he played in the finals. I think it was against Boston. There were times when he had horrible shooting percentages sometimes, but he made up for it with the intangibles like you're talking about. It's the same thing with Michael Jordan. I always go back to this, and I hate bringing it up, but we got to go back to the '96 finals and the Utah finals. Jordan didn't shoot as well as what you think, but guess what? He made up for it in the other intangibles. Scottie Pippen didn't play that good, like in terms of shooting wise, but they made up for it with the other intangibles. Jason Tatum actually was never in the negative. I think he was only in the negative one game, Hashi. he was in the negative one game, if I'm not mistaken. If that, he probably wasn't in the negative. I just remember him being in the negative one game in against Dallas. I'm actually, a lot of people, they gotta appreciate Jason Tatum for his growth. They wanted, they're gonna be like, oh, he didn't get a Finals MVP and all this other stuff. Did he get a chip? That's the way I look at it as. And on top of that, he played really good defense. That was the knock on Jason Tatum earlier in his career. A lot of people, they get mad when I come to the defense of Tatum, but I'm coming to the defense of him. Now, should he have won Finals MVP? No, I would have even gave it to Drew Holiday if you really want to be honest, because he put the clamps on Kyrie. See, it's a lot of different variations and factors that we got to factor in, man, when we talking about this. You said he choked in 22, right? But I mean, we talking about last season. We talking about last season. We're not talking about in 22. And don't forget, in 22, they had an Andrew Wiggins that was just all over the floor, man. You had a Steph Curry that had made up for shooting deficiencies in Klay Thompson and the others that weren't able to do what they necessarily wanted to do. Smart. Man. I don't think not Al Horford. Al Horford was actually more consistent. Now Marcus Smart, and I like Marcus Smart. He's from here too. I actually had an opportunity to see Marcus Smart play in the gym, but Marcus Smart, he did what he could, but of course he wasn't that same Marcus Smart. They made that move, and Drew Holiday was a little bit more beneficial at that time. But Horford had always been consistent, man. Al Horford, man. I can't say now. If you want to talk about, maybe his shooting or something like that, and some of his ill-advised shots, okay, yeah. But to be as old as Al Horford was and still be in there, still playing and stuff like that, Big Al was doing his thing. Hashi, John Morant, Luka Doncic, both played better against Golden State. Right, but are you talking about that year? And where did they end up? That's what you got to ask. You know what I'm saying? Now, Luka, they didn't even make the playoffs. That season they didn't even make the playoffs. Remember, in 22 they didn't even make the playoffs. No, wait, no, in 22 they hold on. I got mixed up. Yeah, they did. They made it to the Western Conference. I got mixed up in 23. Um, but um, but you still forget though. Even last year, you're saying all this Luka and stuff like that. Don't forget that Ja Morant, he was messing up. You know what I'm saying, a lot. With his shooting, and then Luka, you also got to factor in the turnovers. So you got to talk about you're focusing on the good stuff, man. But when I tell you that last season, let's talk about Luka in the playoffs. You don't want to talk about Luka having 8 turnovers or crying to the refs or being a liability on defense. You don't want to talk about none of that. But you'll talk about Tatum, and you'll be like, yeah, Tatum did this, he did this wrong, he didn't do this, he didn't do that, but they ended up winning. You don't talk about how Kyrie folded under pressure. You gotta bring that stuff up too. If we're gonna talk about the good stuff, you gotta be able to talk about the bad stuff too, man. You know what I'm saying, Hashi? Hold on one sec. Yeah, we gotta talk about the bad stuff too, Hashi. You said true turnovers really killed the Mavericks, the star player. Listen, if Luca would have played like if you look at Luca the way he's playing now, that's why everybody talking about MVP with LeBron and stuff like that. Luca has actually been more beneficial on the defensive end, and on top of that, he's been doing good in terms of his turnovers. He hadn't averaged that many turnovers. But I get what you're saying though. He if you want me to go ahead and admit, Hashi, that they both outplayed Ant Man. When you talk about John Morant, when you talk about Luca, yeah, they did. John Morant was clutch though. John Morant was clutch though. There were times though that John Morant could have shot a little better, and he like I said, I'm a John Morant fan. Yeah, yeah, I know, man. It happens, man. It happens, man. It happens. I don't judge players based on one play. You know what I'm saying? If we gonna go there, man, if we gonna do that, if we gonna do that, Hashi, man, we got to talk about Patrick Ewing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they might have had a chance. They might have had they might have had a chance. Jimmy Butler, you know what I'm saying? They might have had a chance. Um, Shit, I'll take it all the way back to Nick Anderson with the Magic. Um, Hell, LeBron. We'll take it all the way back to LeBron. You said odd how Memphis held Golden State Warriors to 62 points the first three quarters before, but couldn't capitalize. Also in Game Six, they were only down single digits. Utah should have beat the Bulls in the '90s, but John Stockton played horrible. Yeah, I mean but it wasn't all games that John Stockton. It was which games was it, man? That he it wasn't the whole series though. I think a lot of people feel like it was a whole series, but it wasn't the whole series. But he could have played a lot better though. John Stockton could have. I don't know. I guess it was something because especially when he went to Chicago, it's like he forgot how to be that Stockton that everybody knew. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but like I said, and there you go. See, Hashi, if you go back and you go look at that series, man, and shout out to Too Raw for TV because I think he pointed this out too. I've always felt like this too. He said this. He said Jordan became more of a like he was starting to become more of a volume shooter in those series and stuff because he didn't really shoot as great a percentage as he did, but he would seal the deal at the right times. He would come through at the right time. He would make the right plays, like just like when he capitalized off of that defensive play that they made in '98, and then guess what? Clutch ass play. He came in at the right time. That's what I'm saying, man. Like whenever they do this stupid stuff, comparing uh, LeBron to Jordan or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? There's no way that you can actually, compare that particular sequence because he did everything all in one or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to get into like the Jordan LeBron thing or anything like that. But there were certain things like if he wasn't having a good shooting day or something like that, Jordan could make up for it with his clutch play. That's just like with the Sonics. Jordan was able to make up for it with with the defense and doing other intangibles or whatnot. So yeah, man. You said why does everyone say Kobe got carried, but not Duncan, Wilt, and Magic when they were outplayed? Oh, whoa! Wait a minute, nah. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Duncan didn't really necessarily get carried. You got to understand this. Duncan's role changed after about the like even the first that um that '07 finals. His role was changing when they played against the Cavs. His role was changing when Kawhi had won the MVP. Duncan's role was changing. He wasn't that. If we're gonna go by that logic, Hashi, Duncan carried Robinson in the '99 finals and in the '03 finals. That was all Duncan right there. But you see what I'm saying? His role changed. It's just like what's his name? David Robinson, his role changed. David Robinson, because of the injury and stuff, especially in that first finals or whatever, you go look at the stats. That wasn't David Robinson, you know what I'm saying? But his role changed. He had to be more of a defender because, he lost a step, especially after that injury. David Robinson was never the same. Wilt never got carried. His role changed. Wilt actually wanted to play defense and rebounding and stuff like that. If you talking about the Lakers, man, nah, Wilt didn't get carried by nobody. No, it wasn't out. It wasn't outplayed. No, he didn't outplay. That's what I'm saying. His role changed. Pop wanted him, the primary scorers. You have to understand that the emerging scorers, and they had San Antonio had a balanced attack, and in that offense or whatever, it was really at that time it was designed to go through Tony Parker, because at that time Tony Parker could not be stopped. They utilized what was working. So it's not like they were trying to outplay. That's never been the Spurs culture, Hashi. And that was the same with the Lakers in the 70 with the 72 Lakers. Wilt's role had changed, man. He wasn't going to be Philadelphia Warriors or you know what I'm saying? Uh Sixers Wilt. Nah. People don't say that about Kobe early 2000. His role mainly changed. Nah. I agree with you. Listen. Hey, I know what you're talking about. There's a lot of people that sit up. I know what you're saying. Now I get where you're coming from, Hashi. People don't understand, and I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna ride out. Yeah, we gotta have this discussion again. I'm glad you're bringing this up, Hashi, because I don't want you feeling like I'm like attacking your logic. No, that's not what I'm doing. But I want to give some examples, because some people, they'll sit up there. I'm trying to give a prime example. Let me give an example. Okay, like when it comes to Andre Iguodala, right? They'll sit up there and they'll say, "Well, Andre Iguodala he's not a Hall of Famer, and he only averaged this amount of points and stuff. And what did he do to deserve a Finals MVP?" Andre Iguodala he's not going to be that Nuggets or Sixers Andre Iguodala or whatever. Not that he was scoring a whole lot of points and none of that other stuff. But if you remember Andre Iguodala was good in the open court. And also Andre Iguodala was extremely athletic, showing off his skills and dunking, first stepping in, he was more offense, especially when he was with the Sixers and everything. But when he got to Golden State, his role changed. His role changed, man. It's the same thing with goddamn Bob McAdoo. Bob McAdoo's not gonna be Clippers or Buffalo Braves Bob McAdoo. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna be that guy. But when he gets to the LA Lakers, of course, you have other guys there. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with Ron Artest. Ron Artest, his role changed, man. He was more of a, primarily a defender. He was always a defender and everything. But Kobe didn't need him to score anything like that, because they had like a well balance. So that's what I'm saying, man. Even with Kawhi actually was able to transition into being able to do both. Kawhi was mainly the defender, and he off the strength. That's why I love Kawhi. He won Finals MVP off the strength of just locking the nigga up. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to Kawhi Leonard, and then as time went on, he developed his offense. Not that it wasn't shaky or no shit like that, but he wasn't known for that. He developed his offense, got his shot better and everything. Then he was that premier two-way player. You saw what he did with the Raptors and everything. You seeing what he's doing now. Nah, he didn't get carried, man. Wilt didn't get carried. And you also got to think about what Wilt was doing defensively. I thought you were talking about 72. Nah, man, he didn't get carried. Do you know what he was doing in 67? Do you know what Wilt was doing in 67, man? Wilt averaged 28.5. He had in the finals. He averaged 28.5, 17.6. I hope Two-Rod's listening. Two-Rod, if I'm messing up on something, let me know. He averaged 17.6 rebounds. Some guys can't even get 7 rebounds. Zach Edey 7'4". And that motherfucker can't even get 10 rebounds. You know how many rebounds Zach Edey had last night? He had 5 rebounds, 4 rebounds. Wilt was averaging 17.6. And on top of that, you talk about a Wilt Chamberlain that once led the league in assists as a center. He had 6.8 assists. He averaged 28.5, 17.6, and 6.8 assists. How the fuck is Wilt being carried? And he did get his point in garbage time. Yeah, he did. I mean, of course, that's what he does, man. That's what, when we talk about LeBron, that's what he did. But I want to know that, Hashi. How the hell did he get carried? How the hell did he get carried? That's what I'm saying. Wilt was a monster. He was a monster that season. Y'all feelings too. I'ma really hurt your feelings, and I'm gonna put the icing on the cake for y'all too. Hachi, I hope you listening. 1967, right? Not only did he average, he averaged more in the finals, right? Wilt averaged 28. Listen, I don't talk about Wilt that much because I don't like to disrespect Wilt. You know what I'm saying? I leave that up to my guy Two-Rod because he's a Wiltologist. Shout out to Two-Rod. That nigga know everything about Wilt. But I started liking Wilt. The only reason I don't have Wilt as my starting center is because I watch Hakeem Olajuwon more, and I go by the people that I actually watch. But if I had saw the shit that Wilt was doing, I would have him as my starting center. Wilt averaged 24, and 7. Okay, he averaged 24 points, 24 rebounds, and 7, close to 8 assists that 67 season. That was for the season. He went up in the finals. That nigga went up in the finals to 28, damn near 29, 28.5, 17.6, damn near 18, and about 7 assists, 6.8. Wilt didn't get carried by nobody, man. Y'all so used to 50.4 and all this other shit. He could dominate a game on the defensive end. He could dominate with his playmaking. You know what I'm saying? That's what the common misconception about Wilt is. Oh, all he can do is score. No. He can't do anything else. Yeah, right, nigga. Yeah, right. Embiid can't even fucking play 60 games. Nigga can't even play 70 games. He played 81 games, nigga. Wilt played 81 fucking games that season, nigga. Let that shit sink in. Straight to the point. I'll get at y'all later.